Hi, my name is Eric, and I'm a PhD student in Carleton in the computer science program. And today I'm talking to you about my thesis. So broadly speaking, my thesis is about looking for new ways to improve user security through user interaction design. The new approach we are taking is based on the mental model theory of knowledge from cognitive science. The mental model theory essentially says that we build little replicas of the world in our head as a result of interacting with the world, and we use these replicas to inform our decisions. So in the context of cybersecurity, we build mental models of the security of our devices, software, and data, and we use this information to guide our actions. So to decide whether or not to log into a banking website, for example, to install and run a piece of software, etc. So we contend that user interfaces are too information poor when it comes to security information. And this prevents people from developing a solid understanding of what's going on, which impairs their ability to make safe decisions. So we plan on proposing ways of designing user interfaces so that they can help people build good mental models of security. Two key challenges that we face are first, that the information has to be understandable, which is difficult in cybersecurity, considering it's a complicated area that's very unfamiliar to most people. And second, it can't take up too much a user's time and attention. So security, at the end of the day, is a secondary task, and people sit down to their computers, devices to do other things. We don't want to get in their way too much. So far we've done a few studies and projects. Most have been published, or they've been published or in the process of being published. So first we did a number of user studies where we laid out the groundwork for the project. In one of these, we tried to learn more about people's mental models of malware. We found some concerning trends in how they seem to be thinking about malware. We suggested the need for this mental model approach, the need to improve user mental models. Another, we talked to people about their everyday security practices, and in analyzing data, we created a model of security behavior, which we think can be applied to UI design. We want to minimize the amount of learning people have to do to stay safe online, so we think it would be good if we could help people bring what they already know to bear in software. Next, we plan on doing a large-scale questionnaires to help provide further evidence for some of our early findings. And after that, we'll get to work on designing, building, and empirically evaluating software prototypes based on this approach we're proposing. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the event. Bye.
Hi everyone. This CLUE presentation will be based on my master's thesis titled End-User Mental Models of Emerging Social Engineering Attacks. Social engineering refers to attacks where users are manipulated into compromising computer systems by revealing confidential information, installing malware, etc. And this is done by psychologically manipulating targets. In your own life, you have probably seen a lot of email warnings or have completed security awareness training to prevent getting phished. However, despite these user education attempts and technical controls, millions of users and many organizations still fall for these attacks each year. And social engineering is very effective, firstly, because users aren't great at accurately detecting attacks, and also because technical controls do not account for user behavior. Often users are confused by these controls, or they just downright ignore them, making them useless. The motivation for this study is based on the fact that a lot of research in social engineering tends to focus on email and website phishing. However, there are trends showing that there are this emergence of these non-traditional attack vectors, such as QR codes, SMS, social media, and fraudulent apps to target users. And this is a problem because not a lot of users are aware of these attack vectors, and this leaves them very vulnerable to falling for these attacks. So to study this, we have a study composed of 3 parts. The first part is where we propose a new social engineering attack framework. And this is done because the current model on social engineering focuses more on email phishing and smaller scale attacks. So it's inadequate because we know that social engineering attacks can target hundreds to thousands and more users, and that these attacks extend way beyond email phishing. Secondly, we conduct a user study to understand how user mental models fit into this framework. And thirdly, we conduct another particular user study to understand how users, what user mental models are of these emerging social engineering attacks and how they would behave when they encounter these. Our expected contribution, firstly, is that we propose a universal and updated social engineering attack framework. And this will be helpful to especially security researchers because this provides a standardized way of researching these attacks. Secondly, we believe that this is the first study to look at emerging social engineering attacks as a whole and also understand how user mental models and behavior fit into these attacks. And it's important to do this because we have to understand how users behave and think about these attacks in order to create usable solutions. So thank you everyone for your attention, and thank you very much to CLUE as well for hosting this. I've also just put down my contact information, and please let me know if you have any questions or just want to discuss. Okay, bye everyone.